Be reviewing Bastard, the heavy metal dark fantasy. Now this is one that I've been wanting to review for quite a while. When it came out last year, I was really excited because I did watch the six OVAs from the 90s, have not read the manga, but was impressed by what I've seen of those. Now, this is from Leiden Films. It was a Netflix adaptation. So with that, you've already got to be wondering to yourself, is this going to be worth it? Is this going to be something that I want to watch personally? And let me put it this way. I'm reviewing both cores of this one. Now, long story short, before I get into this, first core, spectacular. Second core, wanted to bash my head into a wall until I just passed the fuck out. Not gonna lie to you here. Oh my gosh. So, long story short, this film, or I guess series, takes place in a post-apocalyptic world, I guess, because we have these like evil demons, I guess. They're kind of like god entities that we learn about from the very beginning, and they have this big ass war, and they both pretty much defeat each other. The good one wins, the bad one gets sealed away by four seals in different locations in the world, and the world kind of like regresses back to like these medieval times. And the main city that we're faced on is Metallicana. Now, you're going to see as this series progresses that pretty much most of the main characters and villains are pretty much named after metal bands and or songs. Now, I think it's kind of funny, and I do love that aspect about it because I think it's really cute, quaint, and it makes it kind of relatable. For at least metalheads and everything, you get little jokes. It's kind of like obviously an anime version / dark fantasy of like Metalocalypse. Now, they consider this ecchi, which I can kind of see it being ecchi. It does have a lot of like lewd and sexual representation, but there's like no nudity, so I don't understand why it's R+, but I digress. So your main character is going to be Yoko, and she is the daughter of the priest of the or is he a priest? He's a yeah, we'll call him a priest. That's Soto. And right from the get-go we find out, like I said, they've got the four seals in these four different capitals to block away the ultimate demon that has been sealed away. And we find out that our Yoko has this spell that she can do on this little boy named Lucian that grew up with her and Soto, and the spell essentially consists of a virgin's kiss to unlock our main character that is locked inside of him, named Dark Schneider. Obviously a Dean Schneider reference to Twisted Sister, yada yada yada. But yes, so that's the main thing. He's this wizard that is from ancient times, and he kicks butt. that's who you're going to be following this whole time, to just try to stop the main four bad villains, which is Abigail, Kalsu, Nai, and Gara. And all four of these people used to be Dark Schneider's henchmen back like 15 years ago, before he ended up getting sealed away into Lucian's body. So they all know who Dark Schneider is, obviously, and once he comes back to stop all four of them from releasing the seals, things just kind of go as they are. We get plenty of action. We get intense violence. The fight scenes in that first arc are so good. The way they do spells and magic are like amazing. And then on top of it, like I said, you get all the metal references. Like one of my favorites was Dave Mustaine, Megadeth. It was so fucking hilarious when I heard that. But other than that, like, we do meet some interesting characters along the way, which end up becoming side characters that help with the good people. Though there is a couple funny villains that we do meet that are pretty badass, like Diamond, King Diamond, and the ones that we do meet along the way that end up becoming on our side, like Gara, which used to be, like I said, one of Dark Schneider's henchmen. He's a ninja, and his fighting abilities are freaking amazing. And at first, you think he's just this gruesome, terrible guy. Ends up becoming a partner with Dark Schneider because Dark Schneider's got this charismatic, cocky, egotistical vibes that you just grasp onto and want to freaking follow him, even though sometimes he makes you want to just go, why are you doing this, dude? But in reality, we all know he's a badass. Another one that follows up along the way is Nay, which we find out she's a half elf, and pretty much Dark Schneider picked her up as a child because she didn't belong anywhere, and the reason that she's fighting to get these seals away is to get this world where it's all equal people, but we come to find out that's not going to be the case. But she loves Dark Schneider because he's a father figure and I guess kind of like a lover, which, it's anime, whatever. But she pretty much signs this pact away with Abigail, and he sacrifices himself to get her back, and it's beautiful. And then her lower henchmen, Harn and Ari, we also meet along the way, and unlike Diamond, they end up coming on the good side. And Dark Schneider's kind of a fuck boy, so he doesn't actually fuck them, but he kind of seduces a little bit to them, even though Yoko is the main lover and the true thing that Dark Schneider has. While that's all going on, Lucian and Dark Schneider share one soul entity, and they conflict each other every now and then. But the reason that Dark Schneider is so tolerable and loving this time around, and not just a narcissistic evil villain, is because of the Lucian vibes. And they both love Yoko. Now, this is where I start to get a little conflicted, is the way they do the continuity at first is like, sure, the seal gets a little more broken the more powerful he gets and the more everything that's happening. However, they always talk about, at least in the first arc, where after fighting so much, he loses his magic. You know what I mean? Like, he can only cast so much per day, even though he is a very strong wizard. That kind of goes down the shitter in the second half, and this is where my complaints start to come in. Like I said, the first half we meet all these characters, there's progression, it moves along smoothly, and I'm loving it. I am just freaking loving it. The music's great. Like I said, the fight scenes are great. The character designs are awesome, and the animation's pretty damn good. Coming to the second core, it's one long, tedious arc, and I have so many gripes with it. Oh my gosh, I wanted to drop it so hard. It was one of those things where they could have made that 11 episode arc into like 4 or 5 and continue on. Now, from what I understand, the manga actually it's been on hiatus for 12 years, which kind of blows because I know it said to be continued and we are supposedly getting a new arc, because the way they left it off at the very end was fantastic. Like I said, if they would have just rounded that arc down, it would have been great. But they did not. And that really took it away from me, because like the first core gave it like an 8, a solid 8. This one gave it a 6. Okay. Now, it doesn't help that we're fighting one villain the whole time, and it gets repercussive and just repetitive, and they want to beat it in you. And it feels so cliche shonen that I just want to frickin' scream. But they concluded at the very end with leaving you on of a more cliffhanger, asking more questions, wanting to know what's going to happen. And I love that setup, because that is the kind of setup that keeps you wanting more and continuing to watch more. Netflix is really good at this. Look at, for example, like Kakiguri. We got a prequel, but they left us in that huge cliffhanger on season 2 to continue on to season 3, and it's been years now, like 3, almost 4 years. And I just want conclusiveness. But Netflix is really bad at this, and I'm really hoping they don't drop the ball. If we get a next season or a season 2, I will be very happy, and I hope they continue the way they did with season or core 1, because it was freaking brilliant. I get, they probably did that intentionally so they could drag it out and hopefully get more material to make a second season. But my goodness, they just didn't. They knew what they were doing, and I hate it. But that might be the source material, granted. But I'm not a fan at all. Overall, though, I do give this a 7 out of 10 for the whole season. Like I said, 8 for the first core, 6 for the second core. We'll round it down to 7. Great character design. Decently lovable characters. Some of them get repetitive and annoying. The music soundtrack is a fucking banger. You're going to be jamming out the whole time. The references are a hoot. The girls look great. And it's just a good, fun time. I really do hope we get that second season. And, this might be a controversial opinion, like I said. But hey, I really think that if you haven't watched it, at least give it a go. My opinions are skewed. Not a lot of people, you don't have to agree with me. These are just my thoughts. And I do say give it a watch, though. Give it a watch. Hopefully we get a second season. Hopefully the Netflix curse does not happen. And with that all being said and done, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed. Give it a like if you were interested, and if you are even cooler, give me a sub. I guess other than that, we will talk to y'all later. Peace.